We finally got to a point in Season of the Seraph where we can get the new exotic pulse rifle, the Revision 0. And pretty much I want to give you guys just a small preview of it and a small review because we are going to be getting upgrades to this weapon in the future here through the weekly quest. So for this video specifically, I just want to give my initial thoughts and a preview of the weapon. Now, on how to obtain this pulse rifle, it actually is pretty easy. If you've been working your way through the weekly quest for Season of the Seraph, again, there's a couple quest steps you have to do before you can get access to the mission, but once you do, all you have to do is go to the helm, and then off to the right, you'll see Operation Seraph Shield. Again, this is like an exotic quest like Presage. You can go in with one person, you can go in with three. Again, it is soloable, so it's not a big deal, and honestly, it's pretty fun. If you've ever done Deepstone Crypt, you actually have these mechanics called Scanner, Operator, and Suppressor. They're actually very cool. And if you do need help, I would highly recommend looking up a guide to figure out what to do and where to go if you're trying to still figure this thing out. But let me tell you, this mission is really, really fun. By the time you get to the end of it, you actually get just a drop, and then you have to go back to the helm, then you get the pulse rifle, then you have to craft it. So pretty much just follow the quest steps. It's very easy to get this pulse rifle. So this is what the pulse rifle looks like. Not gonna lie, it's pretty slick, has the same design as the Velas X, and again, this is a Hake pulse rifle. Its intrinsic trait, Hunter's Trace. This weapon fires special shield-piercing ammunition. Precision hits grant targeting data. If you hold your reload button to swap to the alternate scope, it loads a high damage round based on the amount of targeting data, and strong against anti-barrier champing. So it pretty much has automatic anti-barrier rounds on this thing. So the targeting data is similar to the anti-grav repulsors, where you can charge it up and you can get up to 4 of those very high damage rounds on this pulse rifle, which is freaking cool. Again, I'm going to cover the other perks later, but its origin trait, you actually have 2 origin traits here. You have Hake Light Burst Fire, which is pretty much the 4 burst round pulse rifle. So it's like an aggressive frame pulse rifle. Again, we're very familiar with that. But then we have something interesting, the Hake Heavy Burst Fire, which gives it more range, less stability, but is a 2 burst high damage, high range round. So it's pretty much like Graviton Lance. So if you're used to Graviton Lance, this is very, very similar to that fire mode. So if you come to the Enclave, you'll notice for the intrinsic trait, there's actually these upgrades here. And again, we will get these throughout the next weeks. And as you can tell in the bottom, we actually get bumps to pretty much every single one of our stats. So by the end of it, we will have better statistics across the board for this pulse rifle. Again, we're going to have a multitude of barrels and a multitude of magazine options and a multitude of stock options. But the regular trait, again, it doesn't look like we're going to have enhanced traits for it, but you can have Moving Target, Eye of the Storm, Perpetual Motion, Elemental Capacitor, Slick Draw, and then Vorpal Weapon. And then at the end here, so the empty Catalyst slot, again, this is going to be the Catalyst perk. So we have 1 of 4 options, looks like. We have it's completely different. So it's Frenzy Refit. So this is going to be different than Feeding Frenzy or Enhanced Feeding Frenzy. So just keep that in mind. We also have an enhanced version of Under Pressure. Again, improved stability and accuracy as the magazine gets lower. We have Outlaw. Precision kills greatly decrease reload time. That's gonna be instantaneous reload pretty much. Then we also have 4 timer refit, so 4 times the charm. Again, this is going to be an upgraded version of that. So if you hit 4 headshots, you get 2 rounds back into the magazine. I have a feeling that we're going to get some massive bonuses with this, so keep that in mind. First up, I want to talk about PVE. So in general, it performs like any other run-of-the-mill pulse rifle. The only difference with this is that it actually has anti-barrier automatically on the pulse rifle, which is going to be very nice. And the high damage round is nuts for anti-barrier champions. It breaks it in 1 shot, so I can see this thing performing well in those high-end activities like I would say Master, Grandmaster Nightfall, Master Raid, stuff like that. Whatever requires an anti-barrier champion, it's going to be disgusting. And the really good thing is that this pulse rifle is based on precision hits, not kills. So even if you are just by yourself, you're doing like a boss or something like that, you're hitting your precision hits, you can get those high damage rounds stacked up and do very high damage. Do not sleep on the amount of damage the enhanced high damage round does. It is disgusting. You know, the fire rate, I honestly I don't think it matters in something like PvE. You can choose whatever one you want. But when it comes to the perks, again, I'm going to cover that in a video in a couple weeks whenever we get everything unlocked for this pulse rifle. But overall, it is definitely a solid option in PvE just because of the perks, the high damage round, and automatically having anti-barrier rounds. Next, let's talk about the big topic of conversation, PvP, the Crucible. Is this thing good? My answer, yes. Absolutely. It's been less than 24 hours and this thing is already rampant in the Crucible. I'm seeing it everywhere. I mean, even with its base perks across the board, it performs extremely well. So for the 4 burst, it can 2 burst to the head. So as long as you hit your headshots, you're going to drop that Guardian. And it is very forgiving because that is just how the 4-round burst pulse rifles work. Again, you do get less range and more stability versus the 2-round burst. The 2-round burst feels pretty good at a range. There's not a lot of damage drop off, which feels very good. Again, if you're used to something like Graviton Lance, again, if you can hit your headshots, it's only going to take you 3 bursts to kill somebody. So I guess like 6 headshots. Again, it is very forgiving if you hit body shots as well. Keep that in mind. It drops Guardians very fast. Like this, it's just a good overall pulse rifle. Again, you can use whatever fire rate you want. It just depends which one you want to use. Honestly, I don't think it matters right now, but I personally like the 4-round burst over it. Now, what I do want to talk about is that high damage round for the alternate scope. So it pretty much turns it into a sniper. You can one-tap Guardians with headshots in the Crucible. It does a lot of damage to the body shots. It's disgusting. And if you can hear headshots when an enemy's in the super, you can one-tap them out of the super. Especially in well, you can knock somebody out of a well like that. It is disgusting. So this gun does have a lot of utility when it comes to PvP as well. Like, yes, like anti-barrier doesn't really do a lot, but eventually, once we get this thing upgraded more and more and more in the next coming weeks, the perks that we're going to have available are going to be disgusting, and I'm excited to test this thing more in the Crucible. I usually give my rating on a weapon here near the end of the video, but I'm not going to do that because this weapon is not 100% fleshed out. We don't have the catalyst. We don't have any, basically, of any of the upgrades in the final form of what this pulse rifle is. I'm just going to tell you this right now. If you have been just sleeping on the season, you haven't done a lot, you haven't done the weekly quest, I'd recommend just going in and doing the weekly quest and getting this pulse rifle and just knocking it out. Because honestly, the mission itself, Seraph Shield, is actually, in my opinion, really fun. It's a real throwback to DSC. The visuals are great. You get to go outside in space. The falling animation outside is hilarious. So there's plenty of good things to like about this. But again, we'll just have to see in the next coming weeks the improvements that this weapon can get. But anyway, guys, that is my initial thoughts and a preview of the Revision Zero Exotic Pulse Rifle. If you like what you saw, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then turn the bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on another one of these videos. If you didn't know, we stream here on YouTube 3 days a week. We're not on Twitch. We're here on YouTube Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday evenings. Again, we're mainly playing Destiny 2. One of the things I'm doing is doing dungeon and raid carries, specifically Spire of the Watcher, considering that is the new dungeon. Again, if you want help, just join the live stream. We'll get everything situated. And if you want to be proactive, join my Discord, because that's where we're going to be chatting and talking. And we also have other topics in there, obviously Destiny 2, but other games, PC tech, and anime as well. Lastly, if you didn't know, we hit YouTube Partner a couple months ago, which is just freaking awesome. That's given us a lot of benefits here on the channel. One of those things being memberships. If you don't know what a membership is, essentially it is like a Twitch subscription. You're going to get access to emotes, the monthly badges, and a few other exclusive things here on the channel. If you would like more information, all you have to do is press the join button next to subscribe, and that'll give you a rundown with all the details you need. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.
Numbers, guys. Victory is all I